Welcome to the channel. Thank you to everyone for tuning in. Today I'm going to be reviewing the San Martin SN0129. It's the 39mm sports watch. Now, you've probably seen a lot of reviews on this watch already. This caught a lot of hype when it was released, and in cases like these I like to wait until the hype has died down and then deliver my thoughts on a watch. But I can tell you already, the majority of the reviews on this watch are indeed correct. San Martin have outdone themselves on this watch. I can say quite confidently that this is probably the best finished watch on AliExpress. They haven't really missed any tricks, and they've delivered us a remarkably high quality watch, and all for under £180, which does make this watch unbeatable. Now, for the £180 you get all the technical specifications as expected: an on-the-fly adjustable clasp, AR coated sapphire crystal, a Seiko NH35 automatic movement, 100 meters of water resistance, and a screw down case back and a screw down crown. And all the above specs are possible for watches even under £100, but what separates them is the finishing and smaller details. For example, this watch doesn't use any old sapphire crystal. It's quite bespoke. You get a curved edge with a low dome, which is not something which is standard, and it gives the watch a very flat profile from above, but on the side it gives it some nice depth and you get minimal distortion. The dials are also very rich in colour. They offer 6 variants in total with this desert sand texture, 3 of which have 14-hour markers and hands, but I much prefer the non-14er versions where you get an all-white dial and a brown dial on top of this one. Now, both the coloured versions have a mysterious fume effect as well, which does enhance the dial. And you've also got the addition of a black chapter ring with really good alignment to the hour markers. Now, this also gives the dial a very clean look. There's also a lot of polishing present on the dial. Hour markers and hands and the date window are all polished, and it makes the dial really pop in the sunlight, and it gives this sporty watch a bit of a dressier elegance. Although I do think the dial markers and hands could do with a little bit of brushing to add some micro detailing, but it does look nice altogether. Now, the lume is also good. The markers are a little thin, so it doesn't look overly amazing, but it is present and bright, and you also get specks of lume around the hour markers due to the refraction from the curved edge of the sapphire. Now, the only thing I really don't like on the dial is that overpowering text above the 6. I think it's too large, and I also hate the meter to foot conversion, and I'm not a fan of the font as well. Now, aside from that, it is still stunning to look at, particularly this red one. I think it's just the right shade of red as well. Now, moving on to where the magic really happens, it's the case. Starting off at the fixed bezel, you get a sunray brushing pattern on the flat surface, which is immaculate. It's very consistent in grain and it stands out beautifully in the sunlight. You've also got a polished bevel followed by a brushed bottom half, and the lines are very precise. I think San Martin do the most crisp transition lines I've ever seen. The theme is present across the rest of the watch, the lugs being satin brushed so fine that it blends in with the polished highlights and so smooth to touch. The case is asymmetrical, which I don't know why. I do wish it wasn't asymmetrical, but it still looks quite good. Therefore, the right hand side gives you a much wider polished area around the crown guards, and the crown does look good tucked in. The case back, however, is still quite plain. Now, I believe San Martin have just stopped signing the case backs. It doesn't take much away, to be honest, but some people do feel negatively about that. Now, the bracelet, again, it's finished superbly. The brushing is so fine, and I find it hard to believe that this watch is priced so low. I used to criticize San Martin quite a bit when they started adding their premium tax on their watches, but over the last 6 months or so, they've brought the prices down a touch. Now then, of course, you've got the on-the-fly adjustable clasp, probably the best clasp out there currently. It's complete with their premium satin brushing, the polished bevels and the polished screws. What I personally like are the pushers. You get polished bevels on the pushers, which I think is great attention to detail. With all the above, I do think it's the dimensions that made this watch so popular. San Martin do really listen to the customers here. It's a balanced 39mm case, a little thick at 13.4mm, but compact due to the lug-to-lug of 46.5mm with a 20mm lug width and the bracelet tapering down to 16mm. These dimensions do really set the watch off. I'd say it's the perfect all-round dimensions, as this watch would fit the majority of wrist sizes, and it looks incredible on my 6.5-inch wrist. It's centered and it's well balanced, and the red dial stands out. The dial is shining away and it's perfectly proportioned. Now, it's hard to find fault with this piece, and I think it's one of the highest rated watches on San Martin store. It's got a rating of 4.9 against 70 reviews given. Now, for me though, I would change a couple of things. I'd like to move the date window at 6 or remove it completely. and definitely change the text above the 6, but those are subjective niggles. So that's it for me today, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.